Finally, outside ownership of U.S. cropland is drawing attention from the boys and girls on K Street, Washington, as concern raises about possible threats to food supply chains and other national security risks. Now, I did a video on this issue over a year ago, and not many people knew about it. And they're buying farmland, they're building, sites next to military installations. They're setting up Chinese police stations in the U.S., abroad. So I think people are starting to finally ask some questions. We all remember the spy balloon spotted over Montana that made its way across the United States. That wasn't the first, recent incident to spark fears about national security and espionage in the U.S. Although Chinese-owned land is a tiny fraction of all foreign-owned land in the United States, they're being very strategic where they purchase it. Its purchases have raised fears that the Chinese government could have control through the Chinese corporations that they have over U.S. assets or gain access to U.S.-based information. Why are they building next to military installations? Why is there a Chinese police force in the U.S., Spain, for foreign nationals as a cover, ladies and gentlemen, as a cover to spy on people in the United States? So only a few years ago, a Chinese billionaire named Sun Gaxipin planned to build a wind farm on part of about 140,000 acres his company had amassed in southwest Texas, near Air Force Base there. But after the proposed project sparked national attention, a lot of people were using their cameras, making phone calls from the constituents in the area, the citizens. Governor Greg Abbott signed a law to stop that wind farm from being built. The citizens didn't get involved. I wonder if it would have been built. And just last year, a Chinese company bought 300 acres in North Dakota. Near what? Near the Grand Forks Air Force Base. I wonder why. They're planning to build a corn milling plant. Yeah, sure. That's the cover. So the Grand Forks City Council voted to stop the project earlier this month. It's just unbelievable. And who knows if the city, people got their hands out getting payoffs to allow this to happen. So these two incidents, along with others, have, focused the attention on state legislators on foreign land ownership, maybe force them to, especially large tracts of farmland. So currently, 14 states prohibit or restrict foreign ownership of private agricultural land. But, the number could grow this term, and according to data from the National Agricultural Law Center at the University of good old Arkansas, roughly 9 of those states, 2 have new bills on the table now. They're on the docket, aimed to, they're wanting to expand the existing law to limit or prohibit, foreign ownership of agricultural land, a designation that can include cropland, which it should, because that's some of the most fertile land, vital land, so they're looking at cropland, livestock, pastures, timberland, and an additional 15 states are considering a bill, but it's not filed yet. Maybe they're getting payoffs. They don't want to file right away. I want to see who comes through the back door to pay them off. So if they do file, that would bring the number of states to roughly 16. And I think this is very important. China's being very strategic if you read into this and what they're doing. So if you think it's for the good of America, you better think again. So according to the Department of Agricultural data, foreign ownership and investment in the U.S. farmland, pastures, and forests jumped to about 40 million acres in 2021. That's up 41% from 2016. But analysis conducted by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, they're roughly, they're a nonpartisan, shall we say, nonpartisan watchdog. They report to Congress. They found mistakes in the data, including the largest land holdings linked with China, roughly being counted twice, and some other challenges and mistakes. So there's some challenges because including that the USDA's reliance on foreigners self-reporting their activity, which, come on, they're not going to self-report. We need to have better measures here to find out who is buying land here. I'd love to go buy land in China. You think they're going to allow me to buy land in China? No. They don't do that in Russia. So look at this map. kind of give you an idea, big picture perspective. So foreign investors own roughly 37.6 million acres in the U.S. agricultural land, which is 2.9% of all privately held agricultural land and 1.7% of all U.S. land. So without improving its internal processes, which they need to, I can't stress that enough, the USDA cannot report reliable information to Congress or the public about where and how much U.S. agricultural land is being held by foreign persons. You think they'd want to make sure they kind of have a special spreadsheet column for that. So the GAO made 6 recommendations, including that the USDA share more timely and complete data with the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. I'll tell you, these folks are behind the 8 ball. So the Committee on Foreign Investment, it's a panel led roughly by the Treasury Department that reviews foreign business deals as they take money under the table. So another suggestion calls for the USDA to ensure its reporting of agricultural foreign investments and there is some precedent, a 1978 federal law, under it's complete. So the USDA said it would need more money to create and maintain an online filing portal. Sounds a little strange, a little more money just to file those files away for foreign investments. And that's according to the report. So I think it's pretty pathetic. So there are some senators that are raising the red flag here. So Montana senator, he calls for a ban on Chinese land purchases following, the report. Chinese billionaire Chen, for example, he's the 82nd largest landowner in the U.S. This Senator Tester's co-sponsored a bill seeking to block some foreign owners. I'm definitely in favor of limiting Chinese ownership of agricultural land. While the article rightly points out that at the moment foreign ownership remains very small portion of the market share, but it's growing exponentially, and they're being very strategic where they buy their land. And I think it's something best addressed before it becomes a major issue. And personally, I like to see similar restrictions put in place for the housing market as well. I think that's important. A country that is posturing for aggression against the Western world, like China and Russia, shouldn't be able to own anything that would impact our security, right? In the case of military conflict with us or our allies right now. So let me be very clear. The greatest existential threat to the United States of America is China, not Russia. China has the economy the size of Texas. The Red Army is not going to march across Europe. See, they all want you looking at Russia when China, they're all taking money out of the pockets of China. We need to do business with China. I'm not saying we need to do business with China. We have to be strategic and we have to be careful. They have infiltrated our educational institutions. They are stealing our intellectual property at an alarming rate compared to Russia. The greatest existential threat to the United States of America is China. They are not our ally. They are our enemy in a lot of senses. They're trying to be the big superpower and take us over. And we need to do business with people around the world, and that includes China. But we need to be careful with how we do it, and we need to be careful with who we let into our country because we're being spied on by China. More than Russia. Trust me. They have the sophistication for cyber attacks more than Russia, and they're playing ball on the surface, but behind the scenes, they are working 24 hours a day to take us down. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, they see us as their adversary. It's the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. Don't you ever forget that. So they are alarmingly buying land. You don't see Americans going to China and being able to buy land. The government's not going to allow it. And they should be limited. Foreigners should be limited in what they buy. And, you have to ask these questions. Why did they set up a police force in the United States, in Spain, London? And they have a cover of, a police force for foreign nationals. That's being uncovered. It's because they're trying to do espionage. Why are they buying land next to military installations? Just so happens? No, because they want to spy. Why did a balloon go all the way over the United States and wasn't shot down, and we knew about it way before it went over the United States? So that's very strange. So we need to protect our interests in the United States first. I think it's very important that we shed light on this. Land is being taken away from Americans, and we need to keep an eye on it. Take care.